Hey everyone, this is Rabbit, and today I'm going to be showing you a handful of low-level uniques that you can use in your campaign to absolutely blast through the campaign and speed up your leveling process. All of these have really low level requirements and are very common to find, and if you don't have them and you play in the Merchant's Guild, you can always get them for extremely cheap, and most of them even free if you're getting them that have 0 legendary potential. Even with just the base uniques and no legendaries at all, these will still carry you through the early chapters of the campaign. And if you invest into some like 2 LP versions of them and get some decent rolls to increase like damage over time, then these will carry you all the way into early monoliths. So starting off with the helm, we have a couple options. I typically run here with this Calamity. It's not that great, but what it does do is it gives you some fire damage, which is synergistic with one of the items that we will be running later. The big heavy hitter here is this Firestarter's Torch. This weapon is absolutely broken in the first couple chapters. You can see here where it says 17% chance to inflict Spreading Flames on hit. That goes all the way up to 26, and Spreading Flame is a fixed damage over time that does 200 damage over 4 seconds. And so in the early game, if you hit any mob with anything while wearing this torch, it will have a chance to inflict the Spreading Flames and just absolutely kill everything on the pack. And this Spreading Flames dot proliferates and spreads to all nearby enemies. Alright, coming into Fortress Gardens, we're on our rogue and we have nothing but the Firestarter's Torch on, and we're just going to be using the basic attacks. You can see all I have to do is fish for a Spreading Flames proc, and as soon as I get that, you'll see that the Spreading Flames is just going to move to everything. So I can like run around, get up a big pack, and then just turn, hit it a couple times with any skill, and it's going to spread that dot and just absolutely destroy everything that you run into. This is really the only weapon that I use for leveling early on, and I use it on every single character that I make. For body armors, we go with the Kestrel. It's just a really good body armor, no level requirement. It gives you plus to dexterity skills if you're playing that class, but it gives you bonus movement speed, and then you have a chance on hit to gain haste for 1 second, and you get increased effective haste, which is really good. It's just a very solid body armor to keep you moving fast. For rings, we use double Arboreal Circuit. This is again no level requirement, and it gives up to 18% movement speed if you get max roll on the implicit and the affix on the ring itself. So we use 2 of these. They also has a chance whenever you get hit to summon an illusory tree. It's basically like a decoy totem, so it'll taunt mobs off of you. So running 2 of these will get you speeding through the campaign and give you a little extra like minions to help you tank everything if you get hit. For the belt, I like to use the Scavenger. It's a level 9 requirement. It has up to 120% chance to find potions, and you gain haste for 3 seconds on potion use. So throughout the campaign, you're going to be chugging potions all the time to restore your health, and so this is going to help you keep topped off on your potions with that potion find chance. And the haste is going to synergize with other things like the Kestrel, which are giving you increased effective haste. For boots, you have a few options. You can go with the Mourningfrost over here. They're only level 8. They give you some good movement speed and also a good source of flat damage if you stack some dexterity. But I prefer to use these. They're Advent of the Erased. They're the Weaver's Will unique boots. So if you don't know what Weaver's Will are, basically as you wear the item and you get experience, the Weaver will add affixes and upgrade them to the item. So it's basically a free legendary. And if you can stack one of these with 30% movement speed, you will absolutely be flying through the game. But it's just a very solid pair of boots. It gives you good movement speed. Again, you get chance to gain haste whenever a nearby enemy dies, and you take less damage over time while you have haste. And you get a bit of ward on a cooldown. So again, another source of haste that's going to benefit from your Kestrel and your Scavenger. For gloves, we just go with Avarice because you get this in the campaign early anyway. It gives you some elemental res and a source of leech, so that's always nice. For the Relic, we just take Tome of Elements because it is a non-level requirement. It gives you a little bit of extra leech with the elemental damage that we're going to be doing with like the Spreading Flames and all that. And then you get some extra chance to ignite on hit with elemental skills if you have any. And so just a really solid relic you can put on. One of the other belts you can use is a Thorn Slinger. I don't typically use this if I just use the Scavenger, but it is some bonus movement speed and you get some chance to bleed on it. Another belt you can use is this Vipertail. It has up to a 70% chance to poison on hit, as well as some dodge rating and melee attack speed. So another solid option you can do if you don't have a Scavenger and you want a little extra damage instead of speed. And the great thing about this is you can always stack all these items with legendary potential, and I'll show you a planner of what these items could potentially look like. So here we are in Last Epoch Tools. These are just some examples of the items that I would roll if I was to get a couple of LP on each of the items, like 2 LP on each of the items. These can be used to really help speed you through the campaign. So starting off with the Firestarter's Torch, if you got one with 4 LP, I would really just be putting the damage over time and the fire damage on the prefixes if it was 2 LP. If you had 4, you could also do the Ignite and Poison on hit, but you're probably not going to find a 4 LP one. So if you can get a 2 LP, the going theme on a lot of these items is just doing damage over time and fire damage and stuff like that. For the Kestrel, you can put physical and some resistance. I like Void Res just because they're both very handy in the early campaign. Not putting anything on the Calamity helmet because it's not really a great helmet and there's not a ton of mods that we can put on there for legendary potential that's going to help us out. We can also run a Bleeding Heart here, which is going to give us elemental damage over time and damage over time if we put on LP. Same thing, double damage over time on both of the Arboreal circuits, and then damage over time fire damage on your Scavenger. And then ideally you get an Advent of the Erased with 30% movement speed, because it can roll all the way up to T7. And then Avarice, since you get it from the campaign, we're not worried about LP, we'll just keep that. And if you get a 2 LP Tome, then you can get LA dot and damage over time. So these are all examples of what you could put on an item. And if we look over here on our offense and we scroll down specifically to fire damage over time, scroll, you see fire damage over time. If we were to like theoretically get this gear, it would give us 1900% fire damage over time, which would buff our Spreading Flames damage and just take it through the roof. So if you have a budget and you do want a solid leveling set that could be applied to any character, then I would highly recommend investing and rolling all this damage over time and just letting the Firestarter's Torch carry you into your monoliths. So there you have it. I hope that short video helped you. I've just seen a lot of people around YouTube and in Twitch chats and everything asking about like Twink leveling setups, and I'm sure you can run plenty of other options with different weapons, maybe different armor pieces, but these are the pieces that I use because they're common. They give you a lot of movement speed and haste, and the Firestarter's Torch just absolutely carries your damage in the early game and in early monoliths, especially if you really build into it and stack up that damage over time. So if you enjoyed it, leave a like, leave a comment, sub to the channel, and I will see you for more informational Last Epoch content in the future. Again, my name is Rabbit. Thanks for watching.